NerdandSon.
Nerd and Son podcast radio, and today we will be talking about cityscapes for your enjoyment. I haven't actually listened to NPR. I can only do what I half remember from many years ago. So please enjoy.
Hey, that works. We're using that one right there. That works. Okay. Well, with that awesome intro, I am Nerd. I am Ralph.
And I'm Son. I'm Connor. And after that low intro, we're gonna blow your eardrums out.
Oh, I'll see what I can do to even that out. But yeah, very, very, very cool. So, okay. So, how was your week?
I have been so sick, and it wasn't even like it was literally I got sick with something, and then like as it was getting better, and like I was cresting that hill, and like everything was gonna be fine, I got food poisoning, and then like
awesome,
yeah, and like I went to the hospital, like it was bad.
Nice. It's wonderful when your son goes to the hospital and doesn't even tell you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a day off of work.
Uh-huh. Great. Okay, wonderful. Pain in the ass children, I swear. Okay. So, one new thing here for the video listeners. So, you are streaming what live from what prison?
Yes, my prison cell. So what you're seeing behind you was where my desk was, and where I'm sitting right now is where my bed was, and so that blanket was in the corner for like sound suppression and like so it sounded a little better. Now it's decoration because it looks like prison. All the other walls are fine, as you have seen, because now, if you know the angle, right, the angle you're looking at now, the angle that you were looking at is now currently this way.
Yeah,
right? It's just
okay. It's prison. It's prison.
It's prison. Yeah, I can't change these walls. I that's in my contract.
Yeah, I know you're living in a little cinder block house and apartment complex.
And then like I can't put anything up. I tried to put like command hooks up to like hang things and all that stuff.
Right.
But it gets so hot out here in Hawaii that like they melt, because this is the only room I have in my apartment with AC. Everything else is cooled by like the breeze.
Wow.
But that only works when there's a breeze. So sometimes it's just hot and I can't do anything about it. And so in the summer when I should be outside, I'm in here where I can make it under 70 degrees and nice.
No. Okay. So prison it is. That's your comfortable place.
Yes,
No, that's cool. Cool. All right.
So, yeah.
My week was just planting plants. I almost have the entire garden in.
Excellent.
I made a brand new garden bed and trying to make it out. And I'm trying to come up with a name for my garden bed. So, I don't know. Probably too much. But a lot of my peppers that I'm putting out in the new garden bed that I built is just 7-pot varieties. Okay, like 7-pot orange, 7-pot red.
Yeah. Pot varieties.
Yes.
You have your indica, your Sevilla, and
there's a couple of the pepper varieties that are named like that. I don't have them, but there are. So I was thinking about putting a sign out there so when I do videos, they can welcome to Potland. The 7 type variety or something. But I'm afraid if I actually put something up that says pot outside, that they would all be gone.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put a big sign that says,
or you'd have like,
this one the plants.
or you'd have like some conservative neighbor or something, like call the cops to look into it or something.
And the dog is barking.
The dog's going, I can hear it now.
Yeah. So that is the dog, which is the pain in the butt. Okay.
On the dog then.
Okay. So I have no idea why she's barking.
Do you want to go check it out?
Yeah. I'll stop this for a second and check this out because
right.
And we are back. Sorry about that real quick. But yeah, I had to actually put the dog up. So cool.
Don't worry, boss. We took care of the dog. The dog liked salmon, which is good because now it's sleeping with the fishes. And by sleeping with the fishes, I mean the dog's in her dog bed, and she has a little fish stuffy that she likes to chew on. Okay. I did not want to imply that you had killed your dog. I merely.
Oh man! All right. So this week we are continuing our environmental series.
But first, we've got news.
Okay.
All right. There were things that happened this week. So, we were announced. Should we start with the first one? Which one do you want to start with?
You. This is your thing. Your show.
Oh God! Oh God! I'm driving the truck. That was a child.
Okay. We started out good. We've already killed a dog and ran over a child. I mean, we are doing awesome. So, what's your news? What's your news?
All right. So, the D&D 5.2 SRD was announced. That the Wizards of the Coast put out an announcement that they would be giving an update to the SRD with the 5.2.
Okay.
And that's gonna come out a couple weeks after they have the like play test of their. I don't know if it's a play test or not.
Well, actually,
it's not a play. It's not a play test. It's their new books. Once they release the PHB.
No, actually,
I'm sorry, wrong. Monster Manual.
Yes, because the PHB and the DMG are going to be released at the end of this year, and they're not releasing the Monster Manual until February of next year.
Yep. So, and then after that, the couple weeks after that, they are doing the SRD update. Okay. So
I don't know what the reason is for that. I don't know. I would consider just being a game and running it from a DM aspect to having all three books at the same time, but there must be some kind of point to that. So, but I don't know it.
I don't know.
I'm not in the publishing world, so I'm not privy to that knowledge.
I look forward to the nice limited editions they come out with that I will put on my shelf.
Yep. Because I have my two 3.5 limited editions here. Leather bound. Still in the plastic wrap, if you can see.
Yep.
Gold leaf binding and everything. Yeah, it's cool. Okay.
So yeah, so those are the dates for that. So looking forward to that and see what comes out of that with the OGL being updated and all that with the new SRD. I just realized I've been saying all that a lot and all that.
Okay, that's fine. We understand.
So now that I'm sputtering out, let's move on to the next piece of news.
Okay.
So the Starfinder 2e playtest is on its way. They've been putting out little field tests.
Okay.
So they have 5 out currently. The first one was just looking at their soldier class, and they're just they're releasing these small little bits of the game to get feedback for like, you know, how everything is labeled and formatted.
Okay.
And they are going to be there's probably going to be changes between what we have in our field tests and the actual playtest release in August.
Okay.
But so they're just little slices of the game so you can see what to look for and what is going to come out. So, you know, this recent one was an encounter with zombies with guns in space.
Did you say that correctly?
Yeah, I said that. Yeah.
Okay. In space!
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 I'm excited for it because I have the Pathfinder playtest book.
Uh-huh.
And I really I think this is a really nice book. I'm all about having nice books on my shelf.
Yeah.
And I look forward to putting this book on my shelf.
Okay. So cool.
The third piece of news is Kobold Press has unveiled their Black Flag reference document, a 5e compatible rules update published under the Open Resource Community or ORC license. Are you familiar with this at all? Are you familiar with who these are? Who these people are?
Actually, yes, with the Kobold Press and everything, yes, I am.
I was expecting you to not be, honestly.
Oh, okay. No, actually, Kobold Press was one of the first publishers that I'm going to go back here just a little bit. That was actually open and putting stuff out, dealing with the SRD and everything for the 1.0 back in the 3 and 3.5 days. So
they have some staying power. So, you know, they started back in 2006.
Yep.
They've been putting out third-party content for all the editions of D&D as they've come out for now, 18 years now?
Yeah, I have a bunch of side adventures by Kobold Press and a bunch of just system documents and reference books that they actually created and stuff for 3.5 and 4, so...
And also, I don't know if you know this, they didn't just work on third-party content that you can use outside of just the standard D&D stuff. They actually worked on the adventure paths for the Tyranny of Dragons, the big one that's like 2 adventure paths put together. And they did design work for the Ghost of Saltmarsh, which, going back to the previous episode, which was, you know, the high seas, I recommended the Ghost of Saltmarsh for naval stuff. So they have been very successful, and if you might be thinking, oh, Kobold Press, they're on the tip of my tongue, like I can't, you know. If you have watched any YouTube about RPGs for any extended period of time, you have heard somebody with a Kobold Press advertisement for one of their Kickstarters.
Yeah.
They run them all the time. So
yeah, I think last one I did is on the YouTube channel Professor Dungeon Master. And hearing that, it's been a while, but yes, I remember hearing that.
Yeah. Well, it's been a while because they've been busy working on this. They have been working on this reference document and a new RPG called Tales of the Valiant that releases next month. So it's a pretty big move for this company that has contributors that include former Wizards of the Coast staff to all of a sudden be, you know, after the OGL debacle of last year, you know, jump ship and make a new RPG for for themselves, you know?
Yeah, and actually, there's a couple companies that actually jumped ship, and I
Yep.
mean, you can't blame them. I mean, if you're basing your business off of a company trying to keep a reference document, and then that company has the right to change it at any time, that's hard for a company if you're all based on that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, they're just trying to protect their business and move forward and everything with that.
Absolutely. And one of the other ones that I am thinking of off the top of my head that is jumping ship and like making their own is Matt Colville, who we'll get into later. And I'm very excited for his like company's RPG stuff that comes out. Very excited for that. And so, but going back to Kobold Press, you know, they have source books, they have adventure paths, they have all this other stuff that you can get outside of just your standard D&D books.
Yeah.
And one specific book that I'd like to highlight is their campaign builder, Cities and Towns. This is one that when I was doing research, this is like they kept going, hey, look at this one. Because today we're talking about cities and in our environments little series that we've been doing. Today is about cities, cityscapes, urban environments.
Right, because it's just as wild and sometimes even more wilder than your woodland adventures.
Yep. And you know, I can't do that segue without pointing out that segue and how good that was.
There you go. You'll see a little cart go across the screen. Okay.
Star Wars wipe.
Yeah, Star Wars wipe with a little segue into it. Yeah. All right.
Speaking of segues, do you know how the creator of a Segway died?
Didn't he have an accident on one and fell off of a cliff?
He fell off of a cliff because he was trying to prove how good the brakes of the Segway were.
Yeah. I knew it was something stupid like that, so yeah. There you go. There's your odd knowledge of the day.
Comedy is just tragedy
the
plus
more
time.
You know.
So, some things to keep in mind when you're doing cities is that you have your different areas, you have your, you know, wildly different areas and like sections of the city. And just like, you know, you're traveling from biomes or different towns to towns, and normally that takes days or weeks to get from place to place. But now it is down to just minutes to hours, right?
Yeah.
It's we need to get across town. Well, that's, you know, 4 hours, and you're going through a bunch of different smaller sub areas.
Yeah. It's like if you're trying to traverse
those,
one side of LA to the other side, or
that's
traverse Cincinnati where you can get across in 15 minutes.
Yep. Absolutely. But imagine you're doing that on, you know, a carriage or, you know, just walking. It's still going to be a while, and you have a lot of things on the way.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. And a thing that kept coming up that kept getting reiterated when I was looking at this was, and I agree with, is when you are pitching your campaign or, you know, pitching this idea to be set in a city, make sure your PCs, the PCs have strong ties to the city. Or at least make your plot hook connected to your characters so there's no reason to leave. If you block off the city and make it so that they can't leave the city, right? You put you know, an army out there so they can't leave, or you put a magical shield around it. The characters are going to want to leave because you have put a barrier in front of them, and so you have put an obstacle, and they're going to try to get through that obstacle. It's how we design.
Yeah, well, that's how players are. If you put up anything like that, but it's just like anything, any kind of environment or anything like that, you got to get the player buy-in. So yes, you got to have your hooks to tie them in. You have to have your personal associations with the town, the PCs, people in it, or some kind of goal that actually binds them to that place, that actually makes them want to stay and have interest in the location.
Yep. So those are just things to keep in mind. Now, when you're actually like designing a city or you're looking for features, one of the things is, your different neighborhoods and sections of the city.
Right.
You can have completely different geography depending on where you are. You could have a very clean, gentrified, walled off city where there's a bunch of rich people, and this is your financial district and your little capital, to you have more rundown areas of the city that if you want to get into the political aspects of that, of like why that's run down, and the marginalized communities that are there. But in a lot of cities, you have different areas where, different people of different cultures will congregate. And in a fantasy setting, you can have different, blow that up wildly out of proportions, right?
Yeah.
So, we have a goblin town. This little gremlins. Players, in my experience, players always love a goblin. They always love a goblin NPC. So a little goblin town is wonderful.
So you're saying inside the city and everything, instead of like normal cities and stuff like that, where you have like a Chinatown. That's a
Chinatown, Little Italy. You have
now you have Goblin Town. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. See.
Yep. And you can do that for. Can you think of anything for like goblins just off the top of your head? Go.
Yeah, basically. First thing I do is have a thing of a couple of goblins that you came across my head is having a community of goblins, which are a bunch of like little thieves. So like it run like your street urchins and everything like that. Instead of having like little children doing everything, you have more goblins doing that kind of thing. I'm sorry, that's the first thing that popped in my head. Yep. I don't know what you were going for, but that's what I said.
Yeah. I just wanted, right off the top of your head, on the spot, thinking of something, just because this isn't hard. It's not hard to like, come up with these different ideas, and to, I just wanted to just a live showing of this kind of thing.
Okay. Now, you do have something in here that is listed as Mind Goblins. I'm not quite sure.
Mind Goblin these nuts.
That's awesome. That's That's twice. You've got me twice. Next time you come to town, you're getting punched in the face. You do know that, right? Okay. Twice. Okay, that's fine. This
one that I kind of went down a rabbit hole when I was prepping was for a little town, like we were talking about Chinatown, Little Italy. The one I talked about, one that like really got my gears spinning was a spot called Little Menzoberranzan, right?
Okay.
Or however you want to. How do you pronounce that?
Mesobarian. I don't pronounce it correctly.
Yeah.
Okay. It's Mesobarian. Zan. I don't even pronounce a Z.
How do I pronounce it? That's my secret. I don't.
Yes, right there. So nice box set. Yeah. That's okay. I've been told, because when I was reading all the books before I actually heard how the name was pronounced, I always pronounced it Drizzt, and it's not. It's Drist.
Mm-hmm. Or how, you corrected me when I was a child because I had read the, Drow, and I always thought it was Dro.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's
that was
Drow.
a common argument online and stuff when that first was really becoming popular and everything else too. So yeah.
So Little Menzo NerdandSon, right?
Yeah.
Or however you want to pronounce it. But it is for Drow who have escaped. And because Drow are a matriarchal society, this is going to be mostly men who are refugees in this area, right? And it's a lot to have, to get out of the Underdark to go, try to get these people. And so it's pretty much a safe haven for anybody who escapes, Drow society.
Yeah.
But, since it's mostly men here, you're not gonna have Drow women to make Drow babies. So, a natural progression of this is that you're gonna have mostly half Drow.
Yeah.
In this, anybody who's from Little Menzo, you're gonna have half Drow children, and that's gonna be anybody who's from this area is gonna usually be half Drow.
Oh, that's a nice little twist, something a little bit different inside of a city. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I thought of you could have a little rooftop village for Aarakocra and Kenku.
Okay.
Little bird people. So people are you could have walkways above rooftops, but they're bird people. They can just fly over. They don't really worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is with the cities and stuff, when you're going into a fantasy world, you kind of got to think fantasy creatures, because mostly what you see, and even in a lot of movies and inside of towns, like, for example, the D&D movie that came out last summer, that actually took place in Waterdeep, and Waterdeep didn't really showcase a lot of different races. It more looked like a human city, human town, everything else like that, just because that's what you're kind of comfortable with if you not really experienced a fantasy setting. But in the fantasy setting, like we're saying, the Goblin Town, you're going to have other races inside there, bird people and everything like that, and then make your village, your town, actually come to life and kind of make it interesting and on there too. Instead of just having your boring old gray-walled castle or keep in the middle surrounded by a village, and that's it. You'll have a couple shops, and you have your iron person, your armor smith and everything like that, beating on their anvil, and I don't know. You got to actually have it more alive, and doing things like what you're talking about in the different groupings and areas like that is actually does make it really interesting.
Absolutely. So, that's those are what I was thinking of when I was just, typing away.
Yeah.
But other than, your different neighborhoods, you have, if you're going to have a fantasy city, have catacombs, little crypts. And that's where you can have, you can have your standard dungeons.
Yes.
In the crypts, in the crypts and the catacombs underneath the city, and you could have your undead adventures there, so that you don't lose that when you go to the city.
Yeah, there's so much that you can do in the city, and that's hidden in the city that you never see. So,
and then you got sewers, right? That's a staple.
Yeah, definitely, because you have to have your alligators.
Exactly.
Yes. So
that's what I thought of on the top. But you have your alleyways and stuff like that, where you can get into trouble, and your warehouse district, your docks, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So
because generally you're gonna have a city on a waterway, because the modern, having a city in the middle of nowhere, not near a water source, that's a modern invention. And so if you don't have the infrastructure capabilities to be able to move lots of water somewhere, or to change the landscape to move water somewhere,
right,
or to pipe it, you're not going to be able to live away from water.
Right. I mean, and even though this is fantasy, you can have a city in the middle of nowhere and not have to worry about that. But yes, from an economic aspect and also from a design aspect, you can actually introduce a lot more things for like trade and a lot more opportunities for different adventures and settings and everything like that. Having those waterways in there, because you can do a lot
Where's
more.
Crime happening? Where's crime happening? By the docks.
Yes. That's a nice trope, and the trope works.
Where's the gang hideout? In a warehouse by the docks.
So, but yeah,
these tropes work. They have been tried, tested, true. There's a reason they're good.
Yes. But yeah.
So, yeah.
Like you're talking about with your neighborhoods and everything, too, just to add in just a couple different things, too, is the neighborhoods you can have just like standard normal areas where you're going to have like your a walled off section like they have in Waterdeep that is just graveyards. And it's a section of the walls not to keep everybody out, but to keep the dead in. But you can have your ritzy section, you can have your poor section, you can have all your normal sections, you can have your business district and everything else like that too. You can make it unique, like you said, with the bird people, the drow, the goblins and everything like that too. But the nice thing is the amount of items that you can place in the city is bigger than just a standard village. So you don't have to have, like an example, you have a small little village. You don't have one inn. You're going to have maybe one blacksmith, maybe one person that's going to sell dry goods or anything else like that. You don't have much of a choice. And from a game design, that kind of makes it a little bit simpler. But in the city, you get a lot more choices and a lot more different options, so you can kind of go wild and crazy. So you can have a couple different blacksmiths. You can have ones that create basically specialize in glass armor for like elves. You got ones for iron armor for like your dwarves and everything like that. So ones that specialize in scale mail. So you can kind of really customize stuff. The other thing is too is you would have multiple inns and places to drink, revelries and different stuff to do that, because then you can go from one, design it one way, and then you go, ooh, I kind of like this idea. You can go and design another one another way, and the players can visit both and go back and forth or whatever, and you don't really have to leave the different area or create everybody brand new.
You design several taverns that you're happy with, and then you have your party go on a pub crawl so that you can showcase all of your creativity.
Yes. So it's just like the last movie in the Coronado trilogy. Is that right? End of the World, or Bar at the End of the World?
Something.
Yeah. So you can do something like that in your city. But the one thing you have to really do in the city, which I really like cities, is they are living, they are breathing. So you don't have multiple people, multiple different scenarios that's going on. So anything becomes a possibility. I mean, anything from kidnappers, you can have a plague, you can have two warring cities, an army sitting outside the gates, like you were saying earlier. You can have anything like that. You can have the king or the mayor or whatever assassinated. You do a whole bunch of things. You can get involved with a thieves guild. All these kind of stuff in one place, which is wonderful.
Well, we can move the plot hooks up as we were talking about that.
I'm just kind of going off of my head. But
no, you're good. No, you're good. Because I had put the plot hooks, right? The things that you can really do. You can't really do a lot of Thieves Guild shenanigans. With you can do a ton of them out here. You can't really do that in a small village. You're not going to have you might have a Thieves Guild like getaway to cool off, but you're not going to have like the main hub of your fencers and your gang activity and your all the crime and stuff. You've got a lot of people in one place. You're going to have you're going to have your Thieves Guild there.
Yes. And you could do so much with the Thieves Guild and everything by oh, my mind just went completely blank. Just like on some of the Thieves Guilds and some of the games that you play. Even in your Skyrim Thieves Guild, you can have stuff like that in the city.
Yep.
Have this all hidden, build games and everything around that. Also, too, just like some of the video games, like an older one came out for the PS4. I think it was a PS3 game initially, but Thief. Really wasn't the best game, but to get a first-person view of actually running around, stealing things, being a thief, dealing, fencing everything, that was actually not a bad kind of option.
Absolutely. And then, you touched on the political intrigue aspect, right?
Yes.
When you are in a city center, a population center, yeah, it's going to be a major like point of politics. You're going to have, you have your mayor, you're going to have your governor there. You're going to have these like courtly intrigue where, you're going to have these rival factions coming at each other, and it's going to, affect parts of the city and stuff like that. You can definitely, play that up.
Yeah, because they want to take out a whole block full of poor people down on their luck, and they want to actually replace that block with a new gladiatorial arena.
Yep.
You can do different things like that. oh my gosh, the ideas are just amazing of what you can do.
Yep.
So
because you're working on such a like small geographical scale, you can actually see the effects of these things. You're not talking about, we're going to war with a rival nation, that you've never seen. Your party has no ever hopes of like actually going to, unless you like actually make out for this like months long expedition. Right. You are in the city, they talk about, we need to get all the undesirables out of this location so that we can put up a gladiatorial arena. Well, you are a 10-minute walk from that location. So, right. You can see where they're trying to do. You can see the people affected. You can, and this is a very much a real living, breathing thing that can move and shift and change on a more rapid scale.
Yeah. And and you bring up the perfect point of it. You can actually see your effects and a lot quicker, and that is really nice. But also too, being such a compact place and having so much on top of each other, I don't know. The options to me are just kind of endless. From anything from petty theft, where you're now chasing somebody and you have like a chase through sewers, or you have a chase through back alleys, trying to play that, role play that out and everything like that. Have rival gangs going after each other, and the players party caught in between. There's so much great monsters coming to attack, imaginary dragons coming out of the sky and attacking the place. Since they're not real, it never happens.
Yep, exactly.
And then, even in the seas episode that we did, Above the Sea, there was, and like I said, I didn't know if it was a book or a game, I can't remember, but in Waterdeep was flooded by Shahagan, and they took over the town for like 10 blocks in before the waters retreated and stuff like that too. You could do so much stuff with that.
Yep. Absolutely.
And the nice thing from that too is this also gives the chance for your players to kind of go wild, since they have all this resource, especially if you're playing a little bit higher campaign where they've actually collected gold. They have stuff in stores. They have actual wealth to them. Now they can go and actually customize the items. And I always encourage my players to get out and customize their armor. Make the player look the way they see it in their head. And give them the options, the magic, the abilities, and everything like that. Let them go wild, because it's there for the taking. It has a cost, but your players have been adventuring, and they have earned some wealth at this particular point, especially at higher levels. Give them the option to go wild.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's plot hooks. That's a great, there's so much you can do.
Yeah.
We've talked about different environments and stuff like that. And we always talk about the climate and what kinds of things are in the climate. This one, the climate's variable, right? You can have a city anywhere. And which means the climate can be whatever you want. It could be a wintry, like a winter in Boston or something, or you could have something more akin to like LA, where it's hot and the desert, and there's so much all over the place.
Or you can be like Seattle, where it's raining constantly.
Exactly. So you can allow a city to fit whatever the setting is.
Yes.
But in a city, you're going to have different hazards, right? Things to worry about. You don't have garbage trucks, and you don't have people. You have a lot of people in one place, and unless you think about the infrastructure, unless you can hand wave this away and not think about it. But if you don't have the infrastructure to deal with this, trash is going to pile up.
Yeah.
In London in the 1800s, there were so many people in one place, and they couldn't take care of everything. So people would literally, because there weren't toilets or anything, they would take their buckets and just dump them out.
Yep. They would dump it out the second story window.
Yep.
And you could get covered in filth.
Yep. You could be walking down and just be covered in shit.
Yep.
And it's one of those things. It's like, it's something you don't really think about when you think about, fantasy cities, or, because they're based, our general consensus is that they're based off of like medieval cities. And that was a concern for medieval cities.
Yeah. So well, it's the same thing. Yeah, I meant from a hand-waving aspect, because you even made a point, probably in our third, fourth episode that we started on the podcast, where I talked about one of the ladies passing by that kind of smelled, and you're like, this is like medieval times. Everybody smells.
Yep.
They're not showered. They don't have the running water and the showering and everything like that, unless you're part of the upper class. So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's weird if you don't smell bad.
Yeah. Something's wrong. He smells clean.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus Christ.
What is that?
Huh?
What is that?
Oh, it's raining so hard I can hear it.
Oh, interesting. I can't hear it.
I don't know if it's coming through. Okay,
no.
All right. Discord is doing its job.
Yeah.
It's very loud.
Oh. Yeah, it's all good. See, you can have distracting rain as a hazard.
Yep.
So
there it is.
Yeah, you can have a flash flood coming down the alley of pure human waste.
Yeah.
So, which that's the sad part. That's how it actually got cleaned, was a good heavy rain. Kind of washed things out and into the sewers.
Yep. So
that's wonderful to think about in cities. So
don't be doing a sewer dungeon delve while it's raining.
No.
So yeah, and you have pollution and trash and all that stuff. It's all gross. And you can have that be a strong. You can have that be a strong difference when you get to the richer and more more gentrified areas where it's all clean and pristine.
Well, and also too, that plays the part of plagues and sickness and disease. So you could have something running through the town caused by the filth and everything, and kind of playing that up. So you can have your plague doctors with their big beak masks and everything else, and kind of playing it up that way.
Absolutely. Animals too. When you're thinking about in a city setting, you're thinking well, you don't have that much wildlife, but you have ROUSs, rodents of unusual size. Even though I don't think they.
It's like the rat you saw in New York.
Yes, yes. It was a big one, the size of a cat that just ran right in front of us.
Yes, so you're gonna have that kind of stuff.
Yep, you're gonna have that kind of stuff. And I have a note here. If you have giant rats, you're gonna have a giant rat king. And if that's not a fantasy creature, I don't know what is.
Oh, that's okay. Are you talking about a humanoid type rat wearing a crown, or are you talking about 50 rats tied together with all their tails tied together?
50 rats with all their tails tied together.
Okay, yes.
Now, take those.
I'm going to add a picture of that just in case nobody's ever seen it. So it's actually a real thing.
Yep. Now, take those, rats in the Rat King and make them all like giant dire rats.
Nice.
So, other things you have to worry about, you have sewer gators.
Oh, you have to have sewer gators.
You have to have sewer gators. And then, stray cats and dogs. Maybe your first level party gets cornered by cats.
The musical? Oh, God.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Never mind. Okay. But yeah, that's good, because you're going to have feral cats and dogs throughout the whole place, just scrounging for scraps and everything, too. So yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
You're also going to have your creatures that kind of lurk during the night. Mm-hmm. That's going to come out and maybe steal some of the cats and dogs or eat them or something like that. Yep. The creature in the sewer. Also, not really animals, I would say, but more like monstrous creatures. Like, for example, you could have a swath of people, which you could have a vampire cult.
Yep.
That's in your city. So that could be something below the surface.
Speaking of the thing that stalks the you could have like some kind of shadow creature.
Yeah.
That would do great in a city.
Yeah. Especially in a horror theme, everything too, yep. Trying to figure out what is taking out different residents.
That's pretty good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Write that one down.
I'll do better than that. I'll record it.
Whoa.
Okay.
So those are some of the animals and creatures you can think of. Other than your big beasts. You can do a lot, and this is when it's time to shine for your humanoid monsters.
Yes.
So, plants. You're not going to have too many plants in this setting, in this environment, other than maybe planted trees or small patches of forest in parks and stuff like that.
Yeah. In the nicer parts of the area, you're going to have thing, and honestly, the most green area is usually like the large graveyards.
Mm-hmm.
As sad as that sounds, that's actually most of the green area. You can get into more your affluential places or neighborhoods that might actually have more trees and stuff like that, but yeah.
Yeah, but where there's going to be trees and, a little forest in the city, that's where the bodies are going to go.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So...
It's like that book, the grass is always the greenest by the sewer pipe.
Yep. That's just true. So let's talk about some resources that you can use to think about your stuff. To think about, being in a city. We talked about Matt Colville, which was very timely because the first thing I thought of was I remember I watched his world building, the demographics of capital, which is his homebrew city that he created, and he went on, it was like a stream where he literally made all the different districts and who was in there and who was controlling it and who's what the faction was in charge of this, and it was really interesting to see building everything and having everything be connected and like we said earlier, a living, breathing city. For Dungeons and Dragons stuff, you have Waterdeep Dragon Heist. You also have we keep we keep coming back. Waterdeep Dragon Heist is a 5e book. I know you don't have it.
No. It's just understood because you have all the stuff like that. Because, like, for example, I have what's this? This is second edition, actually. This is Waterdeep City of Splendors. Big box set that actually details the whole city in detail with tons of maps and a little bit of everything else. Plus, same thing with cities. Big box set for the Mesobarazam. Exactly. So there's tons of different resources out there that you can actually do, and that's just what I have there. So, okay.
Yep.
I mean, also 2 other books, and I'm sorry not to get sidetracked too, but
no, you're good.
This is
if I got upset that you got sidetracked, I'd be a huge hypocrite.
But this is a book here to an essential guide to urban adventuring, and this is a 3.5 edition books right here. Cityscape, and not just D&D. You got third-party settings because I don't know why. Not the highest quality, but there's tons of ideas in this, and this is the Legend of Lair series for 3.5 also, and this is CityWorks. All talks about different city ideas. A handbook for designing and surviving fantasy cities.
There we go.
So, tons of different stuff you can have out there. My camera's going all over the place, so I apologize.
It is. It's all good. But, Waterdeep Dragon Heist is a big module, but you can pull, little ideas from it, It's still a campaign set in a city, so you can see what, how everything is. Another one I keep going back to during this is the Xanathar's Guide, which is one of my favorite books to pull things from, because there is urban encounters over here, and it's great. Love that. Always love that. So yeah, there's also from Monty Cook, which I know we've discussed. I think we've discussed him. I know we've talked about him off air, because he was the one that did a lot of stuff. He's the one that did the Orc and the Pie, right?
That is correct.
Yep. So he did a big book called Tollus. It's a big city that he created and did all the work on, and it is very expensive. I looked, and a PDF is $60.
Yeah, it is a big book. So
don't tell me you have it.
No, actually I don't. I had something else, but that's okay. I'll find it later.
But yeah, I was looking and it was $120 for the book and $60 for the PDF. And I as a rule for myself, if I'm getting a PDF of something, I've been very vocal about this. I like having books on my shelf, but also if I want a PDF of something, I'm not going to pay more than $30.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still like the PDF. I'm still a physical book person because I just like sitting down and physically reading them. The PDFs I've just never gotten into, and I think it's just my generation of how I like referencing stuff and looking at stuff. I still like going to a library. How many people go to a library for books? I know, but
yeah, well, there's a lot to discuss, and people not going to libraries anymore, and the loss of third places within society. It's a big talking point. But there's I like having the rule books because they look nice. But I also like having the PDFs to reference really quickly, and because you can sit there and try to find, go through the book and try to find a specific wording or something that or you can just Control F that shit, and it's an invaluable tool.
Yeah, but I like my sticky tabs and notes and stuff. That's just me.
Yeah, it's also another thing is you play when you play on the table.
Yeah.
I have people all around, all over the place and at different time zones and stuff. So we have to play online, and playing online, instead of having the book right there, you can, like we're doing right now, where I have, the notes right here, and I'm looking at you and talking to you. It's an invaluable resource to have just the PDF right there.
Just a difference in changing how you're doing it. So that's all good.
But not to share, of course.
Yes.
Of course, not to share not to have a growing collection of RPG PDFs that are shared among a group of people. Would never do that.
No. Nope, can't do that with solid books. So.
Oh wait, would that be? That'd be more like this.
With the middle finger?
All right, yeah.
Okay.
That hurt my finger.
that hurt your finger? Okay. So, no, but what I was looking for is what you have on your next note.
Yep.
I do have... I have no idea where it is. But yes, I have a... Oh, I see it. Eberron, Sharn, City of Towers.
Oh, hell yeah.
See, I have all the 4th edition Eberron stuff. So, that's all good there. Because you have a note on here saying Sharn, Eberron. So that's a very interesting city in and of itself, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So what else do you have?
Sorry.
Nah.
Okay. All right. The other thing is somebody went through and on Reddit, which is, generally not a great place to, just sit there and scroll. But if you ask a question and then put, Reddit, you can find a bunch of stuff. So I have a link to a post right here, which is a 120 urban hooks for RPGs. It's D&D Behind the Screens.
Oh, nice.
And so it's just a big list, and you can go through it and find some good plot hooks that'll get you started.
Okay, and this is separated into arts. Includes theater, dance, art, music, nightlife.
This is from a user, Famous Hippopotamuses, from 5 years ago.
Okay.
This post has, oh god, it's so long. This post is like 1.5 thousand likes, or upvotes, I suppose.
Yeah.
So
a lot of stuff with it. So, God, he got a lot of different things. So, let me just pick one. Number 20. A group of gnomish brewmasters has set up a tasting booth on the street and are giving out free samples of Old Brown Mare, a powerful stout that has a tiny side effect. 10% of the imbiters are shrunk to gnomish height for 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay, that was it. Okay, this is the shopping section. Number 13.
Yeah.
The next time an item of clothing is purchased, the party member discovers that it has a large pocket dimension. That's always nice. Concealed within its folds. There is an object already inside the pocket. That's an interesting plot hook and start.
I love it. I love it when I find loose change in my pocket.
That or a mimic.
Well... You get it. It's a toss-up.
There you go. Okay, entertainment section. Let's go number 12. A local casino is offering big prizes to spin the wheel, which only a 5% chance of winning. This is mostly a scam, but those who play are wizard marked to be robbed later. The prizes of the actual winnings are 4 figures. Okay. So yeah, so you got a 5% chance, so it's a 1 out of 20 roll.
Yep.
And you are wizard marked because you won a lot of money. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, there is a ton of different things.
Yep. One that I really liked, at the bottom under nautical, just like you were saying, that adventure you were talking, or that book you were talking about, you have 16 tidal wave. It's exactly that would be the start. You have a big wave that comes in, and then boom, it's Sahagwin or whatever.
Yep.
And around those same lines, for 3 days, no one has been able to catch a fish with a hook and a line. Nothing even bites. Something just cuts the line before any fish can bite. So, you have a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of things that are small that can turn into something bigger.
Yeah, this is a bunch of nice references. Wow, That's incredible. Yeah, I will definitely put this in the link in the descriptions.
Yep. I wanted to put this plot post here like in its whole instead of just being like, oh well, here's some things you can do under plot hooks.
Right.
So because this person clearly did a lot of work.
He did. That's actually really good.
So yeah.
All right. Cool. Very, very, very cool. So, but yeah. The only other thing I got to say about, unless you got something else you got to say about cities.
Oh no, this is I've done.
Okay. The only other thing I can say, and this is going to go to anybody who's trying to try to run a city campaign, is at first keep it small. Start something small and just grow with what you need for shops, people, intrigue, and everything like that. Because if you're trying to design the whole city at one time, it is very overwhelming and it's a pain in the ass. You can't really do it unless you just steal everything out of like a source book. But don't let the size of it overwhelm you, and just take it into small little bits and parts. And yeah, because a lot of people will shy away from doing a city campaign just because it's just, oh my god, what's everything going to go on? It's going to be so overwhelming. And this is the same kind of feedback that I'm getting over our next episode that we're going to be doing when I'm doing all the research and everything on that too. Some of the feedback and items. Just start out small and just let it grow and let it grow naturally. And you'd be surprised as a DM and you put everybody in the city, how much the players will grow the city for you. They'll ask you questions. Well, what can I do here? Do they have this kind of shop? Can I purchase this? Then expand out everything based on what they want. And that does a couple things. That gives them buy-in into the city, that they can find what they want. That gives you ideas of what they want to do, so you can actually have different plot hooks, different game ideas, different encounter setups based on what they want to do. So they actually will build most of the city and everything for you, and then you just have to refine some of the encounters down. So, but overall, don't let it be bigger than what it actually is.
Yep.
So,
absolutely.
Okay. Well, if that's about it, let's go ahead and let's take our scheduled break here real fast. And we'll come back. Our scheduled break. It's just unscheduled, but scheduled. And then we'll come back to our encounter corner after this. So
we'll be back. Stay tuned after these scheduled messages.
Hi guys. If you want to take a break from role-playing and watch someone burn their face off while eating hot peppers, head on over to YouTube at 13 Peppers and like and subscribe. And if you want to grow these peppers yourself, you can actually purchase these seeds at 13peppersbyralph.com. With that, have a good day.
Okay, and we are back. So, okay, so this week for our encounter corner, I actually had the letter M. Okay? So let's go ahead. I'll start it out and we're going to talk about this. This is called the Morgan family. Okay. And I'm basing this off an idea that we actually had last week off of our village town kind of changing locations. That was like a mountaintop village.
Yeah.
All the time and everything. Okay. So let me go ahead and I'm going to go through the setup and everything here. So in a town 50 years ago, women were disappearing at an alarming rate, never to be seen again. Okay. And finally, after 23 missing persons over a span of decades, okay, Donald Morgan was captured trying to abduct a female. Okay. Later that night, after he was captured and everything, while lingering, later that night, while he is inside the jail, okay, his three sons, Huey, Dewey, and Leopold.
Of course.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, I saw Donald and that just three names popped in my head. So they tried to actually break him out and they were captured also. Okay. After an investigation of their home, the remains of all the missing women were found. Okay, evidence of abuse, torture, among other things, were found and done to these women before they were killed and ultimately buried in the floor of the basement. Okay. Now, when this came to light, okay, the townsfolk actually put together a mob. I mean, they were riled up. Okay, they went to the jailhouse and just slaughtered the family. You got some small town justice and everything right there from the wrongs. I mean, this was hideous crimes that this family was actually doing. Okay. Now, during the slaughter, an old town hag, okay, who just happened to be Donald's older sister, that wasn't living with them and actually had no knowledge of their actual crimes, was slain also while trying to protect Donald. Okay. Because she didn't know better and she just saw her brother and stuff like that being persecuted, okay? But during her last breath, she cursed the town, okay, for their anger and the death and torture of her brother, killing her and the rest of her family also, okay?
Damn.
So, yeah. So, a very, very horrific evening and everything. It kind of went down. And so, now, the curse that was laid on the town and the people was so that they would actually never find solid ground again. Okay. And basically how you actually wanted to do this, I was kind of up in the air on how I wanted to say that or use this kind of curse. But basically what this does is this makes the town actually move from place to place randomly every fortnight. Mm-hmm. Okay. And if, you are not in the town when the town takes off or disappears, you're probably never going to find that town again. Okay?
Okay.
And it's never reappeared in the same place before. So, and the reason the curse is just to let the families and the people that actually live there and stuff like that never able to find a place they can call home safely again. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, before the town disappeared on the first fortnight, okay, all the bodies of everybody that was slain, the Morgan family and everything like that, were actually buried outside of town. They just dug a hole, a pit, and then dropped in it.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the day after that all went down and everything else, all the villagers the next morning awoke and they found that their whole village was in a new location. Mm-hmm. Okay, and this could be random, this could be anything like that, but yes, the curse started immediately and the whole village was moving, and it moved every fortnight from that. Some of the villagers were lost due to them not being in the town. It kind of took them a few times of it moving to know that's done doing it every fortnight.
Yep.
So you kind of got some loss. So you're going to have some people that are scattered around that used to be from this village that can kind of tell you a little about what's going on. So, yeah. Now, 1 year later, okay, the Morgan family arose, and they arose as Morhegs. M-O-H-R-G. Morhegs or Morgs or something like that. Okay. And basically it is a creature that is an undead, a creature that arises kind of more skeletal with kind of its guts and everything hanging out. But these are actually remnants of mass murderers that have arisen. Okay. That's why I kind of picked them. Also, it has an M name, so that actually kind of works. Okay. And they actually arise also too with some of their knowledge and past and everything else like that they're still riveted in us, so you still got a piece of their personality, but their little bit that they keep causes them to be ultimately violent and actually want to seek revenge on either the people who killed them or whatever they want to. So they actually woke up 1 year later and with one goal to wreak vengeance on the town which slew them. Okay. Now, these four family members, you're going to have Donald, you're going to have Huey, Louie, and Leopold.
Yeah.
Huey, Dewey, Leopold, whatever. I can't remember the names right offhand. So they're actually going to be mounted on either like zombie horses, or you can actually upgrade them to like they're riding nightmares.
Okay.
Okay. And they ride in constant search of the town. Donald, who is followed by his 3 sons, has a sense of direction on where the village is currently, okay, but does not know the distance and direction. So, like, for example...
Kind of like a It Follows situation.
Yeah, so he'll be riding one direction, and then the town will change locations. He'll stop, and then start off into another direction. And he's been doing this for years, decades. You can kind of change the time frame and everything up like that, too. So, now, a couple different things. The way you can encounter him... Okay, is you can just encounter the 4 Morogs or Mohegs mounted on their horse zombies or something similar. It's just a standard random encounter. Okay, when you do encounter them, just know that Donald, and you might want to actually up his like challenge rating or whatever, just because he's the more senior of the bunch, to make him a little bit stronger than his 3 sons. Kind of make it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could encounter them that way, and that'd probably be the most common way to encounter them. Okay, or you can actually use the story and the search for them in like a bunch of rumors. Okay, like for example, if you go visiting in an area and you start hearing rumors of like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Okay, another just normal. Rumor is just to hear the story about mysterious horsemen that actually rode through the area.
Yep.
Okay. That were slaying people as passed by them without thought or concern. Okay. Maybe the players have found the town and have been told of the story of curse. So they arrive at the town and now they're told about the story and the curse. So that could be a way they find that. And depending on where that town's located and how close it is to changing again to the fortnight, could be a little bit interesting, especially if you wanted to displace your players to another location on the map.
Yep.
Okay.
Or it could be one of those things. It's like, you show up to, like, you find this, you stumble upon this town, and as the main characters here and all that, like, oh, hey, guess what? They finally showed up.
Yeah. Be like that. Now, one of the things you do is, you hear the rumor is maybe the only way to break the curse is to give the Morgan family a proper trial. Okay? Now, they're mass murderers. The outcome's going to be the same, but it's going to be a proper trial, not one done by mob.
Yeah.
As an option. Okay?
They need a lawyer.
Yeah. So now this was an interesting thought that I had, and you could have a wizard that has noticed something strange throughout his learnings. There are zombies that just seem to stop and change direction all over the land. And the reason that there are zombies that do that is once a Morheg actually slays somebody, they arise the next day as a zombie that follows the Morheg around.
Okay.
So, and basically, since he's learned through his learning, all these zombies kind of changing directions all through the land, he wants to prove a theory that he can triangulate where they are heading. Okay. So you can do something like that, because these zombies are the victims of the family who came across him accidentally. Okay. And what that is Donald is heading in the direction of the town, but these zombies are all heading in the direction of Donald.
Yep.
Okay. So that could be very interesting on how you want to do that as kind of a game setup and scenarios. Okay. Now, also, too, the players could be at a location and all of a sudden they see the Morgan family bearing down on them on their nightmare horses, and all of a sudden stop and change direction and head off into a different direction. And that'd be like, what the hell just happened there?
Yeah.
And that could be kind of curious and bring something on.
That could be a random encounter, like, early on. And then, like, when they get up in levels, they can see them again and, like, be introduced to this.
Exactly. So I kind of like the idea of having creatures which have a thirst for vengeance, combined with the town that kept on disappearing from last week. And that's kind of all kind of played together when I was thinking it in my head. And having the zombies they create kind of try to follow Donald, because the zombies are going to be slowly shambling. Donald and the Morhogs are they're quick. They're not normal zombies, so they're going to move at a surprisingly fast pace.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the characteristics of that undead creature. But I thought that a whole idea of the curse, the backgrounds, and when I'm doing these, the encounter designs, I kind of like the history and everything that brings the encounter together, because that gives you a lot more story, a lot more theater of the mind that's playing out, and a lot more options of where you can actually incorporate it inside your game.
There's a lot more drama.
Yes. So, and you're never going to feel anything for the Donald family. You want to go ahead and slay them, or the Morgan family, but this kind of gives you an overall background and the meaning, and I don't know. Yeah, this just kind of like played out, and I'm like, ooh, this is kind of cool. I like this idea.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Cool. So what's your thoughts?
I like it. I especially like, like the idea I just had where, like, you see them at, like, you're traveling around at early levels and you see these like 4 nightmare and their undead riders like riding around, change directions and move off, maybe as like a nighttime encounter or something like that you can roll on. They change directions and they move on, and then maybe later on, a couple levels later, you see them again running a different direction, just running, just full tilt. And then you finally like get to them, or they get to you,
Right. Yeah. I just thought the whole idea and everything of him changing direction all the time. So yeah, that is the encounter corner and everything right there.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I like it.
Awesome. So do you got anything else you want to add for this episode or anything?
Nope, and I don't have any pluggables to plug.
Okay.
So, but I have a question. Let's say I want to hear about how to garden, or how to grow hot peppers, or anything like that, or any thereabouts about peppers.
Yeah, interesting question transition and everything right there. So, but if you are interested in any kind of spicy hot pepper, seeing somebody burn themselves eating peppers you probably have never seen before, you can head to my other YouTube channel, which is called 13 Peppers. There I taste, review, try to find a history on some of these peppers and go over those. Sometimes I'm actually making recipes with some of these hot peppers. Sometimes I'm just tasting sauces that other people make from these peppers. But this year I have so much out there. I have a total of, I don't know if I have a total of, but I have over 700 plus plants that I am putting in the ground. And I have lost track of the varieties, because I purchased even more varieties at the garden center out in Mason. They had some stuff, 2 items that I didn't even have before. Plus, I have a couple good people that have sent me whole plants of crosses they've made. So, yeah, I have 170 some varieties right now. Not 100% sure.
Nice.
It's once I get everything in the ground, I'll recount and stuff, because I'll have to label everything. But yes, if you want to see anybody kind of kill themselves with some hot peppers eating them, go check out that channel. I would greatly appreciate it. It is 13 Peppers. The other thing you want to do is, if you want to get a hold of us, we do have a link tree down in the description. There you can contact us, especially if you want to get our email, and that way you can give us any comments, questions, ideas, thoughts, whatever, critiques. We just want to hear your thoughts, so go ahead and get a hold of us there. But with that,
absolutely. And if you want to see more, of us, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and like and comment while you're down there.
Yes. We would greatly appreciate it on any of your podcast services of choice or on YouTube.
And with that, I think that's it.
I do agree. Okay. Well, I am Ralph. I am Nerd.
I'm Connor. I'm Son.
And you have yourself a very, very good day.
Bye.